Okay. I'm available for Guma.
Two Charlie take four and we roll marker.
Okay. Down. I'm speeding.
Mark garbage, take one.
Okay, let's reset. Let's reset.
We could be like a cover again. Oh yeah, go for it.
Hi. It's been a while. I don't think I know how to do the introductions anymore. But that's okay because we're here. For those who don't know, or for those who've been watching and have been waiting for a video and it's been a while, is because I sold my camera, so we're kind of stuck in limbo here while we're finishing a couple of projects. I plan on buying a new one soon. I have a bunch of footage that's just been lying there that needs to be edited into a whole slew of videos, but with no camera, there's just been like a series of like incomplete videos. However, that's not what this video is about. What this video is about how to get higher production value without breaking the bank. I don't know if I'm going to title it that, but that's kind of the concept of this video. If this is the first video you're watching of me, my name is Khani. I'm a narrative filmmaker. You can see my film that I just posted for your benefit. I have another film coming out probably to the festival run next year. It's finished, but with the pandemic and everything, we're likely going to release it for the festivals for next year. Knock on wood, everything goes right. But this film, if you didn't know what the budget is, we shot it for like $300-400, probably less. Everything was just food and just a bunch of favors and just equipment people brought in. So something I kind of want to talk to you guys about is for those that have very little budget, how do you guys make your film look like it has more of a budget? Right? Like how do you make it look where someone watching it doesn't focus on, oh, okay, this looks good, but like you can tell that the person didn't have a budget, right? Like you can still feel that in some of our in some of the film, but I feel like we came a long way. So the first big thing, and I kind of wrote down a bunch of notes for you guys, right? Is the first thing is what you want to do is you want to hire hungry and talented crew and cast. And crew and cast, I'm going to start calling them talent, because crew and cast in this budget are essentially the same thing. Like your cast essentially is going to be, at one point they're going to be like acting, and then the next point they're going to be helping you move things around. Like that's kind of what the gig is. But what happens is, at least what should happen is, through this process, they should feel some sort of ownership, at least of the project, more and more, right? Like in this scale of projects, it's not yours, it's everyone's. And it's your responsibility to realize that potential. It's a big responsibility, but that's what it is. So you want to hire talented crew and cast, and that are hungry. That's the big thing. You can have talented crew. You can have a talented cinematographer that isn't as hungry, and as a result, won't bring as much without a budget, right? Like I've met cinematographers that are fantastic, but are further along in their career, that you need a certain budget and you need to be able to meet a certain things for them to be able to go into the project as much. And when you hire someone that's like, I don't know, maybe he came right out of film school and he looks like he has a really good eye, or you reach out to someone and they're just as hungry as you to be able to tell stories, those are the people that will bring all their equipment. Whether or not you need to use it or not, they'll bring three like suitcases worth of like equipment. and all you'll need to do is cover their food and gas, and that's it, right? And that's fantastic. And those are the people that you want to meet, and those are the people that you'll likely be able to meet in like local Facebook groups and local film meetups and stuff like that. Like a lot of what this kind of video is stuff that I did, and I'm hoping that you guys can take from it and learn from it. Once you meet these people, you're essentially gonna talk to them. You're gonna try to feed your passion to them, and hopefully they'll pick it up and they'll go running, and they'll be able to help you create something that's special. Next, the next thing is something that is super vital, and and like every indie filmmaker says it, but I have to include it here, which is adapt your script. Don't adapt to your script, which means that if you have a scene that's set in like a kitchen, right? It's like this big dramatic scene, right? But you're at the location, your house, your friend's house, or whatever it is, and the basement has much more character than the kitchen. You might want to change the setting of your scene to your basement, or you want to be able to look at your scene, look at your environment, and then be able to cater to that. To be able to create a place that has much more character that's suited for your story. A lot of this comes with experience. As you keep making more and more films, you'll realize what works and what doesn't, and then you'll be able to do this better. But something that you want to do is, at least for my recommendation, is adapt your script. Don't adapt to your script. Something we did a few times is, even for my MITS project for the Indiegogo, was when we found our new location, which was cool, I had to rewrite the script's blocking so that so it's not confusing, because on set chaos is happening. Your script's kind of like what's in your hand at all times, and if it starts to be confusing, then everything is just chaos. It's even more chaos. There's nothing to like be able to be like, oh, what are we doing here? Because the script says we're going to a washroom, but we don't have access to this washroom. And you didn't have access to that washroom, but you didn't rewrite the script saying to change that scene up, right? You know what it is in your head, but you need to adapt that script to your environment, because the script's the blueprint, and the script's whatever's in your what's in your head is great, but you need to put it on the script, at least at this level, right? At the early level where your communication's not the best, you're still figuring things out, so you have a lot of time to be able to figure it out on the paper. And then when you're on set, it's just going to be that much easier. At least from my experience. Number 3, give creative freedom to your talent. This includes both actors and your cinematographers and all that. This kind of goes hand in hand when you're hiring that hungry cinematographer. He's going to have a voice. He's going to have all these interesting ideas. And what you need to be able to do is, in your initial stages in conversations, you need to be able to feel that he's the right person, that you guys have a vibe, that you can be able to work together. You need to be able to look at him and be like, I can hang out with this person for months and have conversations with them without being annoyed or without feeling any sort of annoyance or being just tired of him. And part of that comes with someone that you think is interesting and someone that you think is talented from your eye, not talented in the general sense of the word, right? Like you need to be able to see what he does and be like, that's interesting work. And I think that once you can go past that level, then what I try to do is create a sandbox, right? So for instance, for your benefit, something that me and Nikita discussed was, we're like, okay, well, we talked about the emotion of what the film was trying to do, right? And then we also talked about, well, for the first half of the film, like, I wanted to get this feeling of like really long lenses, right? Where it's like the background and the environment is completely almost blurred out and all we see is him. And to me, that was the kind of look that like Mark was giving him. And we were being put in the place of Mark. And then halfway through, when we realized that Callum is hating this, he's not happy, is when we switched and then we were put in the position of Callum, which is like wider lenses, and we're seeing a lot more around. And that was like my kind of sandbox, where it's like, this is what the emotion is, and this is kind of what I want, but everything else is kind of like, okay, let's what are you thinking, right? And that was, and each film for me is different, right? Like Amidst was a little bit differently, where I was like, okay, this is the emotion, and now everything else is free conversation. And you just need to, if you can create that sandbox, and depending on the DP, because some DPs like a lot more specifics, and other DPs love the room to play, right? And so, but in my experience, when you hire someone that's hungry, that has this like edge, that wants to be able to prove himself, then usually creating that sandbox is super helpful, and you can get the most out of it. And I mean, that kind of leads into also the actors, right? Which is, if you create this open conversation with the actors, and you give them a sandbox as well, like you did with your DP, what you end up doing is giving the actor a freedom to be able to really express himself. A big instance is in your For Your Benefit. By the way, if you haven't seen the film, spoilers. But For Your Benefit, the ending scene where he kind of explodes and he's like really just like in a fit of rage, kind of, right? And he's just like swearing. That wasn't as intense in the script, but that's something that Andrew brought, because I tried to create this environment of like openness, and like everyone's idea is good, but not just that, but like I'm here for them, and their expression is really important. And which is like a really good path to my fourth point, which is having an open dialogue, and that you don't need to know everything, and that your path to learning something is also a good place for you to bring on people and learn it together, right? The idea is if you don't know like the exact frame, or where to take the character and how intense to go, bring your actor, bring your DP in on that conversation. You're not losing anything if their idea is better, right? Like, your big job as a director, as much as it is to tell the story, it's also hire people, right? So I feel like some directors get really insecure when like the DP is giving all the good ideas, and they're just like, sorry, I have this tendency of like moving things as I talk, so don't mind me. But like a lot of directors get really insecure about, like, they're like, they start to feel like, oh, my DP is giving too many good ideas, I'm not giving the good ideas. And I don't really get that. Like, to me, I'm bringing them on. I like to bring people more talented than me. Like, for me, it's like, if I can surround myself with people that are more talented, I'm fine. Like, they'll make me look good. Which I think leads into my fifth point, which is probably the most important in my opinion, is creating a relaxed environment. And this is why I think that like people that are trying to get into the narrative field, don't put a lot of money into your projects at first. Create create a bunch of projects that are like really like low budgeted, that are like really ambitious. Go for the ambitious. Also, like explore whatever stories you kind of want to explore. There's no real there's a lot of free domain there, but don't put a lot of money, because once you put more money, things get a little bit more tensed. So you kind of want to explore your artistry, your filmmaking with little money, because then you get a sense of like what really a relaxed environment could look like. And then once you go into larger productions that might have a little bit of money, then you might be like, okay, well, how do I achieve that? And then you can create your own tips and tricks, whether it's music, whether it's to be honest, usually, like, as long as you don't look tensed, no one is going to be tensed. If you're showing a lot of like, oh, you're super tensed, then everyone around you, the actors and all these people, they'll get super tense, which is usually like a big starting point. So even in the $0 productions, as long as, just remember, fake it. Like, you can totally fake it. You can be like tensed up inside and be like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but outside you're like, all right, I got this. And as long as you have that persona on, everyone around you is going to be like, all right, cool. Like, the actor's going to be like, yeah, I can go for this. Like, there's no tension up here. That's really about it. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but if you haven't seen For Your Benefit, go check it out. I tried not to spoiler too much. I tried not to spoil too much. I said spoiler. I tried not to spoil too much. However, check it out. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, leave them below. Maybe in the next video, I'll have like a Q&A segment of the film. Otherwise, if you want me to talk about something specifically, because I'm going to be trying to do these more often, these like educational narrative stuff. Yeah, I might go into specifics about like scenes and other stuff like that. But yeah, let me know what you guys want. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, press that notification button, and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and all that other fun stuff. I have a podcast. Check it out. I'll leave the link in the description. We bring a bunch of really creative people there. We talk a lot about blah. It's my first video in a while. You gotta give me some leeway here. Don't make fun of me. We talk a lot about some really cool stuff. Take care. Peace.